Ambition. Do you hear it? It's restless. Ambition requires men to feed upon. It also needs time, direction, and sacrifice. But for every man who fulfills his calling, there are thousands left with nothing. It's them who knock and open the door to hell.
The world turned against us. Yet, we survived. We brought heat to our homes. We healed our sick. We fed our children. Some say we broke our promises. Some say we betrayed our brothers. Some say we abandoned God. But it is us, not them, who brought us this far. And those who make sacrifices today will reap the rewards of tomorrow.
When the world freezes over and mankind is pushed to the brink of extinction, only a disciplined society can survive.
Frostpunk. Game of the Year Edition. Buy it now. Frostpunk is a brand new title from the creators of This War of Mine. It's a society survival game, asking the question of what people are capable of when pushed to the brink of extinction. Here, you meet the objective of building the last city on Earth and securing all the means for your people to survive. It is a challenging task that will put to the test your empathy as well as strategic thinking. You'll start journey with few fragile shelters, but soon your settlement will grow into a full-fledged city powered by steam. Development, optimization, and overall management will become a major duty of yours. In the face of the everlasting winter, it is crucial to oppose the cold. Keep your generator running, distribute heat, and carefully control the temperature in every part of your city. Otherwise, your people won't last a single day. Establish laws regulating the existence of your growing society. Decide on their working routine, healthcare, food provision, as well as other crucial aspects of their everyday life. Maintain their hope and contentment, as moral condition of your society is as important as securing basic means to keep them fed and safe. Survival demands progress. React to current happenings, but also think long-term, investing in development and technological advancement, providing a highly advanced infrastructure with self-propelled automatons, airships, and other technical wonders is difficult, yet achievable. All depends on your management and leadership skills. While New London is your main focus, there is much more to the world than what lies in the limits of your city. Expeditions, while risky, can bring you valuable intel, precious supplies, and grow your society in numbers. There may be people out there, and their fate lies solely in your hands. Some of your decisions will seem small, like deciding about a fate of a troubled citizen, or meeting a demand of a newborn fraction. Be aware, however, that a sum of your doings can lead to unexpected results. Your people put their faith in you, but their devotion is not limitless. Leadership can be a burden. Should you reach a turning point, do not hesitate to determine the path of your people. Should you rule them with an iron fist, or rather show them a way of compassion and faith? Reach for extremes, or try to find a fair balance. Whichever you choose, remember, there's no turning back.
Here at 11-Bit Studios, we want to invite you to dive deeper with us into the detail of our upcoming title.
In this video, you'll be able to see all of the different features of our upcoming city survival game, all in one neat package. Before we begin, imagine how the world could look like 30 years after an icy apocalypse wiped out the remnants of society. The question then becomes, where do we go from there? What now? Many strategy games would offer humanity a way toward a bright future at this point. As you might expect from a city survival game, in Frostpunk 2, things take a wildly different turn. Frostpunk 2 begins when the captain, the leader we remember from the first game, dies. After his passing, the new leader picks up the mantle of governing a metropolis nestled in the frozen wastes.
A city survival game has a lot in common with city building one. In Frostpunk 2, you expand your city by building entire city districts. The latter serve different purposes, for example, production or extraction, and need at least a few cells of space to construct. Yet this is where the survival aspect takes precedence over building. The world of Frostpunk 2 might be a clean slate, but it's far from safe. That's why you have to think strategically while placing your districts. Not all of them will work well in close proximity to each other. For example, an industrial district might affect the well-being of a housing one. Increasing pollution level might contribute to rising tension among your citizens, and in effect, cause them to take to the streets. And that's not all. Building districts in certain areas might provide you with additional benefits. To mention just one, places shielded from the wind enjoy a special heat bonus. And this is a trait not to be treated lightly in a world ruled by an ever-present cold that might prove deadly.
Let's take a look at communities and factions in Frostpunk 2. Because what sets this game apart from other strategy games is that as a steward, you don't really wield absolute power. The sheer need for survival is no longer a common goal that binds society in Frostpunk 2. Now, people divide into communities with different, often conflicting worldviews. You have to take into account while governing your city. In time, those communities may radicalize, forming factions, groups that will actively try to influence the direction you lead the city in. Their ideas for the future can take a quite palpable shape as you choose which building you build or which idea will proceed next in the research center. It's up to you as a steward to carefully balance between different factions. That's because their growing support, or resentment, affect what we call zeitgeist, a general ideological landscape of your city. As the communities and factions gain influence, you will have to build a council hall, a place where their delegates will collide. Here, the steward plays the role of a power broker, who proposes laws and puts them to vote. And this makes playing Frostpunk 2 a form of constant maneuvering between conflicting interests.
The votes are in. The measure fails.
The balance of power inside the council hall must be kept in check, as one faction's ascension will inevitably cause discontent among others. This might even lead to a violent civil war on the streets of your city. That's why you must think through every law and negotiate patiently. As the level of strife in the ominous tension ball rises, getting through the cascading social conflicts will get only more and more difficult. We'll talk a bit more about some improvements to the game mechanics we've been working on since receiving feedback from you during the open beta. Just like each city is a live organism that grows and improves, so are we working hard to improve Frostpunk 2 even more. This is one of the reasons why we paid special attention to all of the feedback that you left us during the open beta. Your overall impressions were positive, and you helped us prioritize what to focus on during ongoing development. For example, we added new hubs that will help make city building in Frostpunk 2 a more in-depth, fleshed-out experience. But that's not everything. We've also been working on a couple of features that will help make the game more balanced and more involved. We added finer workforce management to give you more freedom and finer control in distributing it across your city. What's more, we are adding in a new type of construction resource to supply you with more options and dilemmas as you expand your city. None of these additions would be so clear-cut without your involvement, so we thank you for your feedback.
Strategy games are challenging as they are. That's why creating an intuitive interface is super important. In Frostpunk 2, we had the luxury of learning from past experiences. Yet some modifications had to be made simply to accommodate the new scale of New London. Thanks to feedback you gave us after playing the open beta, those changes went even further. New buttons and menus will make your life easier during basic city management. They will also help you quickly deal with arising emergencies. Out of all features we added recently, one stands out. The zoom-in stories, as we call it, let you observe some scenes in detail, giving the city the human dimension that we know you loved so much in previous game. Of course, that's only a part of upcoming changes. We are constantly checking feedback we've received from you, so more surprises are coming your way. After the Great Storm passed, taking back the Frostland and its vast resources became one of the humanity's top priorities. In Frostpunk 2, surveying the frozen world is far from a walk in the park. The Frostland is divided into territories with different difficulties to explore. To add more into the mix, whiteouts and dangerous weather anomalies make setting off into the Frostland even more treacherous. Yet, as your city grows, the demand for resources will grow so great that organizing an expedition won't be up for debate. In time, researching adequate solutions in the idea tree will decrease the cost and time of such undertakings. This will enable you to build outposts as well as entire colonies in resource-heavy areas. Creating supply lines will be crucial to the survival of your colony. For example, building roads might be beneficial for your citizens' further expansion into the Frostland and overall survival. Outposts and colonies serve as a source of various resources. Yet what sets apart these two kinds of settlements is not only scale, but also a way of handling.
A colony is in many ways another city with its own economy, logistics, and colonists. To establish one, you will need to relocate a part of your city's population, as well as allocate additional Frostland teams and cores.
Before you ask, no, colonies don't come with separate council hall. That means that social problems stay within the main city.
You might ask, governing one city is difficult enough, so why build a new one? Well, the answer is simple. Over time, it becomes unavoidable.
Colonies specialize in supplying your city with resources it needs to grow. They can specialize in producing food, oil and other goods, so you have to ensure that their transfer remains steady via trails and later in the game, so-called skyways.
Sadly, the colonies cannot survive on their own. If your main city fails, the game is over. And that's all for today. If you're still eager to learn more about the game, you'll have to play it yourself.
Have fun and be ready for really challenging and fun game.